Rapunzel. In a faraway land there lived a happy couple. When the woman found out she was pregnant, she craved the crispy lettuce from the neighbor's garden. To make his wife happy, the husband picked lettuce from the field. But the owner of this garden was the dangerous witch Camilla. Camilla was such a wicked witch that she looked down on everyone and never mingled with people. She only lived in her shabby house filled with items made of gold. She had a golden chair and a golden mirror. Even her dinnerware was made of gold. But that day, when Camilla saw the man picking lettuce from her garden, she rushed out in anger. She told the man to drop the lettuce immediately. The man, embarrassed, explained that he was picking the lettuce for his pregnant wife. Upon hearing this, Camilla made him an offer. She said he could take the lettuce gladly, but in return, if the child they were expecting had golden hair, they would have to give the child to the witch. Months passed, and the happy couple had a beautiful baby girl. When the baby was born and they saw her golden hair, the couple remembered their deal with the witch and felt great sorrow. Soon after, the evil witch Camilla took the baby from her parents' arms. She named her Rapunzel and locked her in the highest room of a very tall tower she had built herself. This tower had no stairs, only a small window. Rapunzel lived in the tower for many years. She took her first steps in that tower. She drew her first picture in that tower. And in that very tower, she grew up to become a beautiful young girl. She tried to understand the world by peeking out of her tiny window. She grew up thinking Camilla was her mother, but since she had never seen the outside world, she didn't even know what freedom meant. Rapunzel's golden hair had grown so long over the years that Camilla would collect the fallen strands and melt them in her magical cauldron to turn them into gold. In this way, she could fill her house with gold and endlessly feed her greed. That's why the witch never allowed Rapunzel to cut her hair. In fact, she used Rapunzel's hair not only to make gold, but also to climb the tower whenever she wanted to visit. She would call out, "Rapunzel, let down your golden hair. I have come." Rapunzel would let down her hair and the witch would climb up using it. Whenever the witch visited, she would scare Rapunzel about the outside world, saying there were terrible monsters and that she was keeping her safe in the tower. Feeling helpless, Rapunzel believed all of this and was very afraid of the world outside. One day, a handsome prince wandering through the forest heard a beautiful humming sound from far away. He rode his horse to find where the sound was coming from. Eventually, he came upon a giant tower. Looking closely, he saw a beautiful young girl with golden hair singing at the small window. He was amazed by her and wondered who she was and why she was there. Even though he looked around, he couldn't figure out how to climb the tower. Just then, he saw the wicked witch Camilla approaching and hid in the bushes. When the witch shouted, "Rapunzel, let down your golden hair. I have come." Rapunzel let her long hair fall from the tower window. As always, the witch climbed up using her hair. The prince saw all of this and came up with a plan. The next day, after Camilla had left, the prince went to the tower and called out to Rapunzel, imitating the witch's voice. "Rapunzel, let down your golden hair, I have come." When Rapunzel let her hair down, the prince held on and climbed up. Seeing a stranger for the first time, Rapunzel was very scared, but the prince explained he wouldn't harm her and came to help. He told her about the outside world, flowers, birds, and freedom. Rapunzel had always been curious about the world, so his words touched her. The prince offered to help her escape and be free together. Rapunzel was so happy she accepted at once. They made a long rope together using threads. Then they noticed the witch was coming. The prince quickly hid somewhere. Rapunzel let her hair down one last time so the witch could climb. When the witch entered, she sensed something was wrong, but said nothing. Then she started brushing Rapunzel's hair. Without realizing, Rapunzel said, "The prince climbs faster than you." Hearing this, the witch went mad. "You let a stranger into the tower besides me?" she shouted furiously. Rapunzel didn't know what to do. The witch took scissors and cut Rapunzel's hair. When the prince saw this from his hiding place, he jumped out. He grabbed the scissors and threw them outside. He shouted, "You will pay for your evil deeds, wicked witch Camilla," and tied her with the rope. Rapunzel tied the cut hair to a firm spot and called, "We can escape now." So the prince held her hair and they both escaped the tower. They rushed to the kingdom and told the king and queen everything. The prince's mother spoke of a sorrowful old couple who, many years ago, had no choice but to give their beloved baby to a wicked witch in exchange for mercy, and had been heartbroken ever since. Rapunzel and the prince excitedly went to the home of the old couple the queen mentioned. The old couple recognized Rapunzel as their long-lost daughter the moment they saw her. They hugged her with tears in their eyes. Rapunzel was overjoyed to be reunited with her family. Months later, the prince and Rapunzel were married in a grand wedding that lasted 3 days and nights. They lived a very happy life. Meanwhile, the wicked witch Camilla was punished by being locked forever in her own tower, never to perform magic again. The Red Shoes. Once upon a time, in a faraway village, there lived a little girl named Karen. Karen lived happily with her mother in a small, cozy house. Karen was a very curious girl, always asking her mother about everything. One night, she wondered what the bright lights in the sky were. Her mother smiled and said, "Those are stars. The people we can no longer see become stars and shine in the sky." Karen had only one toy, one dress, and the wooden clogs her mother had made for her. But her clogs hurt her feet a lot, making it hard to walk sometimes. One day, when her mother got sick, Karen went to the market to buy her medicine. By the roadside, she found a box with shining red shoes inside. The shoes were so beautiful that Karen couldn't resist taking them. When she returned home, her mother said, "These shoes might belong to someone else. You should return them." Karen stubbornly said, "No, I found them. They are mine," and hid them away. Months passed. One day, when Karen came home, she couldn't find her mother in bed. At that moment, she realized that her mother was now a bright star in the sky. The next day, she wore the hidden red shoes to her mother's funeral. The people at the funeral were surprised to see Karen's bright red shoes. At that moment, a kind-hearted old woman passing by the cemetery noticed Karen. When she learned that Karen was now alone, she wanted to help and took her home. The old woman bought Karen new clothes and beautiful shoes. She did everything she could to make Karen happy. However, Karen was still stubborn and refused to wear anything but her red shoes. No matter what the old woman bought her, she didn't like it. No matter what she cooked, Karen didn't eat it. She constantly complained. As Karen grew, her shoes no longer fit, and she kept grumbling about them. So she asked the old woman to buy her a new pair of shoes. One day, while at the store, Karen saw a pair of shiny red shoes just like the ones she had as a child, and begged the old woman to buy them. The old woman said they could only afford one pair and suggested she choose black ones instead. But Karen was stubborn and declared that if she couldn't have the red shoes, she would walk barefoot through the streets. Left with no choice, the old woman bought both pairs. She had to walk home exhausted and sad with tears in her eyes. Karen, however, happily ran ahead in her new red shoes. She didn't even look at the black ones. One day, the old woman told Karen that they needed to attend a funeral and asked her to wear the black shoes. Karen stood in her room staring at her shoes, but she couldn't resist putting on the shiny red ones. She covered her red shoes with her skirt so no one would see them and left the house for the funeral. At the funeral, everyone noticed Karen's shoes because they were bright red and sparkled under the sunlight. When the old woman saw this, she was very upset. She scolded Karen, saying, "What you did was very wrong. You are too stubborn." Just at that moment, a handsome young man happened to be passing by. He was mesmerized by Karen's beauty and approached her. He complimented her. Then he invited her to a grand dance party at a luxurious mansion. Karen was overjoyed and didn't know what to do. She happily accepted his invitation and started dancing with excitement. But after a while, she could no longer stop her feet from moving. The old woman and the young man tried to catch up with Karen, but they couldn't. In the end, they gave up and watched her disappear. The red shoes were more stubborn than Karen. They made her dance through hills and valleys for 3 days and 3 nights. Not even muddy roads or big stones could stop the shoes. Karen shouted, "Stop! Please stop!" But it was no use. Her feet were covered in wounds and bruises. She stepped into mud, got pricked by thorns, but still, the shoes wouldn't stop. Until a hunter passing through the forest noticed her struggle. Hearing Karen's cries for help, the hunter ran to her. With great effort, he managed to take off the shoes. At that moment, Karen couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed from exhaustion. The red shoes, however, didn't stop and danced away into the distance. Finally realizing she had to let go of her stubbornness, Karen thanked the hunter for saving her. Feeling sad but wiser, she picked up a thick stick and slowly walked back home. When she arrived home, the old woman greeted her at the door and hugged her. The old woman was saddened by Karen's condition, but she believed she had learned an important lesson. because Karen finally realized that her stubbornness had harmed her, and she promised to change and be more understanding. From that day on, she treated the old woman with more respect and listened to her advice. She no longer thought about the red shoes. She realized that there were more important things in life. A few days later, there was a knock on the door. It was the handsome young man she had met. He told her that he had been searching for her everywhere in the city. Karen was overjoyed. Together, they went to the beautiful dance party at the mansion. That night marked the beginning of their love story. Thus, Karen left her stubbornness behind and lived a peaceful life as a more understanding person. Now she knew that true beauty was not just about wearing beautiful shoes, but about having a beautiful heart. Once upon a time, there was a girl with golden hair living at the edge of a great forest. Her name was Goldilocks. Her golden curls were so beautiful that everyone admired her. But despite her cuteness, Goldilocks could sometimes be a little mischievous. Every day, when she went outside to play, her mother always had to remind her of the same things. "My dear, please play in the backyard and never go into the forest." Deep in the forest, there lived a bear family. A big papa bear, a medium-sized mama bear, and a little baby bear. Every morning, Mama Bear would wake up early to make porridge for breakfast. One morning, Baby Bear woke up very early. He wanted to eat the porridge, but it was too hot. "Mommy, can we go for a walk in the forest until our porridge cools down?" Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear left their porridge on the table and went for a walk in the forest. That same morning, Goldilocks was playing in the backyard while waiting for her breakfast. But she was tired of always playing in the backyard. She was very curious about the forest. What could happen if I just explore the forest a little? She looked around and seeing no one, she suddenly started running into the forest. When she got tired, she stopped to look around. What a beautiful forest. Flowers, trees. Why didn't I come here before? She wandered deeper into the forest. Meanwhile, while the bear family was walking in the forest, Baby Bear spotted a beehive hanging from a tree branch. What a big beehive! It must be full of honey. "Daddy, can we have a little honey?" "My dear, that beehive belongs to the bees. It's their home. We can't enter someone's home and eat their food without permission." "You're right. I guess I'll have to wait until we get home to have my breakfast." Goldilocks, walking alone in the forest, wandered so far that she eventually lost her way. She tried to find her way back but couldn't. She was very tired and very hungry. She was about to cry from exhaustion. She walked a little further, and finally the path ended. In front of her, between the trees, she saw the bear family's cottage. She quietly approached the house. She walked around it. She couldn't see anyone. She knocked gently on the door, but no one answered. She peeked through the window and saw 3 bowls on the table still steaming. She went back to the door and knocked quickly this time. The door, which was slightly open, swung wider. Goldilocks was delighted and called inside. "Is anyone here?" When no answer came, she went inside. She approached the table. On it, there were 3 bowls of porridge, 1 large, 1 medium, and 1 small. She was very hungry, so she tried the porridge from the big bowl first. But as soon as she took a spoonful, she burned her mouth. It was too hot. Then she tried a spoonful from the medium bowl, but it was too cold, so she didn't eat it either. This one is too cold. Then she dipped her spoon into the smallest bowl. This one is neither too hot nor too cold. It's just right. She ate all the porridge from the smallest bowl. After finishing her breakfast and feeling full, she noticed 3 chairs by the fireplace. She wanted to sit down for a while because she was tired. 1 chair was big, 1 was medium-sized, and 1 was small. First, she tried to sit on the big chair, but she couldn't even climb onto it. Then she tried the medium-sized chair, but it was too hard. She couldn't get comfortable. Finally, she sat on the small chair. This chair was very soft. It was just right for her size and very comfortable. But with a loud crack, the chair broke. Goldilocks found herself on the floor. She didn't know what to do. She entered the next room. There she found 3 beds. 1 big bed, 1 medium-sized bed, and 1 small bed. First, she tried the big bed, but it was too hard and too big for her. The second bed was a bit too big and much too soft. Then she lay down on the third bed. This bed was just the right size and very comfortable. It was so comfortable that Goldilocks fell asleep right away. While Goldilocks was sleeping, the bear family returned home. Papa Bear had collected firewood, and Mama Bear had picked fresh blackberries. Baby Bear couldn't wait to get inside and eat his porridge. When they arrived home, they sat at the table, very hungry. Someone has tasted my porridge. Someone has tasted my porridge too. Someone has tasted my porridge. And not only that, they've eaten it all. They got up from the table and started looking around. Papa Bear noticed his big chair near the fireplace. Someone has sat in my chair. Look, it's been moved. Someone has sat in my chair too. Someone has sat in my chair and even broken it. The bear family curiously went to the bedroom. Someone has lain in my bed. Look, the bed is messed up. Someone has lain in my bed too. Someone has lain in my bed, and someone is still there. Papa Bear came over to Baby Bear's bed. They saw that indeed someone was lying in the bed. He slowly lifted the blanket. They were very surprised to see a little girl sleeping in the bed. What is this little human doing in our cottage? Tell her to get up from my bed right now. Startled by the cubs crying, Goldilocks woke up and was terrified to see 3 bears in front of her. She jumped out of bed and ran outside immediately. She ran out of the cottage and didn't look back. She was out of breath from running, but she didn't stop. She didn't even know which way to go. Just then, she saw her mother and father coming toward her. Her parents had gone out searching for her, worried. Goldilocks was overjoyed to see her parents. She ran and hugged her mother tightly. I will never disobey you again, Mommy. I will never go anywhere without telling you. Goldilocks hugged her parents tightly. From that day on, she never did anything without her parents' permission. She became a well-behaved and sweet little girl.